Over the past several days, we've dealt with an incredible lake effect event across Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. And of all five of the Great Lakes, Lake Erie and Lake Ontario often produce some of the most prolific lake effect snow events. And there's three reasons why. So reason number one, and really this is actually the biggest reason. The reason is fetch. So what's fetch? Fetch is basically the wind, the distance that wind travels over water. And in this part of the world, the prevailing wind is west to east. It's out of the west. So Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, their long axis is from west to east. So you have more wind traveling over a longer distance. So Lake Erie is 241 miles long from west to east. And Lake Ontario is 193 miles long. So the more fetch you have, the more organized and intense the snow band that develops, especially when you get that cold wind flowing over much warmer lake waters. Okay, reason number two. Lake Ontario and especially Lake Erie are the most southeastern of the five Great Lakes. And they often run milder, especially Lake Erie. Lake Erie is extremely shallow, so during the summer months, the summer heat warms up the lake pretty quick. So during the fall, when you get these really cold air masses moving over the Great Lakes, since Lake Erie is the warmest, you get the biggest difference in air temperature and water temperature. And that difference in temperature is what generates increased instability. And the more instability you have, the stronger the lake effect snow band. So reason number three, just to the south of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, and to the east of Lake Ontario, you have very, very high terrain. So as those lake effect bands hit that high terrain, it causes the air to rise even more, which causes increased snowfall amounts. We call that orographic lift. So you've got three reasons there of why Lake Erie and Lake Ontario are so susceptible to these prolific events. It's because of their west to east orientation generating larger amounts of fetch. It's the fact that they're both warmer, especially Lake Erie, and we have orographic lift that enhances snowfall because of the higher terrain southeast of both lakes.